We should.
We're live?
Yeah, we live.
Hi.
Happy Saturday, everybody.
Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday.
Sorry for the technical difficulties. Like, this is our first time going live, and Michael was willing to go live with me. So I'll just chit-chat while he set things up. Thanks a lot for coming in and watching. This is Miss Mary doing life with Miss Mary. First live video, one of many to come.
Yeah.
Just got back from doing my walking. You know what I said about that. You have to do it with somebody or without someone. It's your body. So I just finished my 3 miles, came in, jumped in the shower, and here I am, ready to just spend time with you guys.
That's right.
So forgive all the bloopers and all the mistakes, because why? We're doing life, and this is for real. This is real life over here, you know. All right, so this is my son Michael, the youngest, and
What's
we're
up,
gonna.
YouTube? What's up? What's up? Happy Saturday, everybody. Happy Saturday.
Yeah, we just coming in to do what? Have a conversation.
Yeah, we're gonna have a conversation.
We're just having a conversation with you.
A conversation.
Right. Okay.
Chop it up.
Yeah.
So what? First, well, you know, it's Saturday, right? So
yep, it's Saturday.
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
Cheers to that. Let's toast before.
That.
Cheers to Saturday.
Yep. Cheers to Saturday, and for you giving me your time again.
Yeah,
thank you for coming into town and us being able to do this. You know, I appreciate you.
Good to me.
All right.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
I'm drinking my water, staying dehydrated, but this is apple juice. But I do drink my water like I instructed you guys.
So yeah, well, we got some topics that we want to talk about. We're eager to see what y'all got to say in the chat too. But we got some things we definitely gonna discuss, and so like, I wanted to ask you.
You're gonna ask me some stuff?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you some questions. We're gonna see what we got going on. So, is there what are some like unexpected things that you feel like you've learned from me? Like 3 to 5 different things potentially, you know, as far as, I mean, it could be anything. I know a lot of times we teach y'all a lot of things about technology.
Yeah.
We teach things about like mental health that wasn't discussed in the past, or
well, I'll start with I'll start with technology. Without Michael, Miss Mary would not know technology. There will be no technology in this house. Because we didn't know nothing. I mean, like, from setting up our phones, from me calling him like, Michael, my phone is not ringing. Why can't I get my phone to ring? Mom, go into your settings. I mean, the basics of things, you know, between him and the other kids, but mainly Michael has expressed the most patience with it. And even for his dad, you've expressed the most patience. And the thing of it is, too, that I have learned from you is that you wanted me to know. It wasn't like, you know, like I got one child, I'm not going to call no names, that can get a little frustrated with you, like, well, click on this.
Yeah.
Are you doing it? Put me on FaceTime. Why do I put you on FaceTime? Mom, just, some people are not teachers, and there's nothing wrong with that person. Nothing. It's just everybody's not a teacher, and everybody don't have the patience, you know. But for you, you always seem to have the patience, and I'm like, spoon feed me, take it slow. Mom, look for the red button. Mom, look for this. So technology, you have taught me so much about technology. And my first YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, that was us. That was, I can't take all the credit for that. That was definitely both of us.
Yeah, but you was the one, you know what I mean? It was it was birthed out of him and his dad always did movies and spent time together. And I got a little jealous.
Mom was upset about that. She didn't like that.
I want some time.
She wasn't with it.
Some time.
She wasn't with it.
What you want to do? And I was like, you know, so then he said, okay, we'll do some videos and stuff. Go through videos, you know.
100%.
So technology, I would definitely say that you have taught me, even now, to set up this live. Michael came and sat, got it all set up. How do I go live? Show me how to go live, So I would say technology is one component that you have taught me. And I know like a lot of times you can go like to the library and stuff for people who don't have kids and stuff like that. But it's nothing like having your own child teach you, and somebody that's teaching you with patience and understanding that you are a senior and that this is new to you and all that kind of stuff.
And that is a great point too, you bring up, right? So like they do have classes as well. I think that's a great point to emphasize too. Like I know a lot of your viewers are around my age. So for those that don't know, because I didn't know this until a couple of years ago, but like the Apple stores, like if y'all buy your parents or your aunts or your uncles or anybody that's not super familiar with tech, a device, an Apple device specifically, you can go to the Apple store and they have classes like Saturday mornings. Like right now, I'm sure it's a class going on where they just show them this is how to get your email. This is how to FaceTime your kids. This is how to do this.
But even at that, sometimes some of those people
might not have the patience.
They don't have the patience. So signing up for a class at the library with seniors, or just having somebody who's gonna have patience with you and that wants you to get it. Like Michael wanted us to learn. I mean, I think you didn't want us to be left behind,
100%.
I can remember too,
I
like booking our flights. Because now,
everything
everything is computer. Digital. So if you don't have somebody to book your flights and stuff,
Well, I'm gonna take it back even further. Okay. Look at you. We're gonna stroke egos. I'm gonna stroke mine. Listen, I'm gonna take it back. I remember fixing VCRs.
Yeah.
When I was little kid, you know what I mean? Maybe 6 or 7.
Yep, we did.
And I remember a specific family member was like, "My VCR ain't working," and I was like, "Okay, let me see it." And somehow I would fix the VCR. You know what I mean? Those analog devices. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. I wasn't super familiar. I didn't have any technical skills. But
it
even
worked.
that, So it's always just been like an affinity for technology, and
so if you have, it's a blessing to have a child that wants you to learn. And my other kids want me to learn too, but we're just talking right here with Michael. I don't want to leave anybody out, But and then having the patience to teach you and wanting you to learn. Like I say, at one point even booking flights and stuff. But so definitely, I would say technology. Now, when we talk about mental health, that one I would say came from your generation, my children. Because me, and I'm 67, and we just didn't go to therapy. We just didn't.
They used to say, "You go to therapy. What you going to therapy for? You crazy? You got something going on. You don't need to go see no what they call them shrinks. You don't need to." See those shrinks.
Right. And for me, I'm a believer. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. So a lot of times I would pray and ask God to help me, and He did. And He did. You know what I mean? But I remember my kids. But it did come a point in time in my life as I got older that I did need therapy. That I did need. And I remember talking to my kids about the situation. And all of you guys were pointing me to therapy. You know what I mean? And saying, "Mom, God is still God. And God still does what God does, but God uses these people." You know what I mean? And how you can be so transparent with somebody who doesn't even know you. You can be so raw. So I learned that from your generation. From your sisters who talked openly about, going to counseling, going to therapy, that it was nothing wrong with it. You know what I mean? And I've seen the results of it. And I think for me, seeing you talk so openly about it. And like, I remember one time calling you, was like, "Oh, Mom, I have to call you back because I got an appointment with my therapist in 5 minutes." What? I thought that was me. You talking to your therapist? Yeah, I am. He's like, "I got to talk to my therapist." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then just how transparent and how open you was about it. You weren't trying to hide it. You weren't like, because I can remember he would like literally like, "Where's the keys?" When he would come here and he wouldn't have his car. Where's the keys? Where you going? I got an appointment with my therapist. I'm gonna drive to the park and sit and talk. I'm like, what?
Oh yeah.
You gotta isolate
Oh
yourself?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't want to just sit here and talk in the family room or whatever. He's like, he gets in the car and drives off and go drive to the park or whatever. And I'm like,
Very, and I look, since I've been 18, let me tell y'all something. I'm very, very discreet and very selective, right, about the things that I do, and very isolated at times, right?
yeah.
But therapy for sure is one of those. I think a lot of people, there's definitely, I think, less of a stigma on therapy. And at the time when I started going, what happened was there was a lot of men's mental health started coming up a lot. And
Oh,
like,
okay.
you know, because it was for women, it's a lot of things, right? And there is still a stigma for men's mental health.
Right.
Like we were talking about earlier, how I was saying like some men, not me necessarily, but a lot of men have said like the words, like the buzzwords around therapy, like healing and, you know, speaking your truth and things. To them, certain men, it can come off as very feminine, and you know, men feel some type of way about those types of emotions if they haven't been able to process them. So for me, I'll say that was right around the time when a lot of people that looked like me were getting gunned down, and the footage was getting put on TV.
The George
There was
Floyd stuff.
Yeah.
Is that when you first got?
That was
When you first started
that was
going?
when I first started going, when a lot of that started to happen, and it's like, you know, your mental, you start to see a decline in yourself because you're paranoid about just stepping out the door, and you're paranoid around the, you know, law enforcement, or you're
Right.
paranoid around anybody that you feel like is judging you based on the color of your skin.
Okay.
So that was it for me. And then of course, you know, there was also some stuff from my childhood that I
Okay.
needed to discuss with the therapist. But um, the thing that I really want to emphasize to anybody who hasn't been to therapy, who is thinking about therapy, is that you know, hey everybody in the chat, what's up? What's up? What's up? I see y'all in there. Put a comment down below. Let us know where you calling from. Yeah, ask a question, not calling, but you know, tapping in from, I should say. But so one of the things that I really want to emphasize for people who haven't been to therapy, or people who are just unfamiliar with it, or like, what does it look like? Like, I'm in this room, this person don't know me, I'm expected to like spill my life story about all the trauma I've experienced. First of all, the first session is just an intake session. This is when you go in and you're talking to the therapist, and they're just like, why are you here? What is it that you're looking for to get out of this? Have you been to therapy before? The first session is not this like breakdown of tears and emotions and, oh my God, when I was 7, my dog died, and oh, I cried for years, and ever since then I've been afraid of getting a new animal. It's not. That's not what it is. And most of the time, let me say this too. Most of the sessions I have had in therapy were just like this. It's a conversation. It is me and at the time my male therapist having a conversation. Hey, how's it going? It's going good. I'm sitting here. I got to cut the grass today. I hate doing that. Oh, really? Why do you hate doing it? Because it's too hot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's therapy. 90% of the time is just a conversation. The difference between it and having a conversation with people you know is that the therapist is clinically licensed to recognize things and point it out to you. And there's also no, your loved ones typically won't judge you anyway, but like there's no form of judgment because they don't know you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So and they're there to help you.
So yeah. And I just wanted to emphasize that, like, therapy is sensationalized in movies and in media as this big breakdown moments and like emotional, it's super emotional. That's not what therapy is. 90% of the time. The other 10%, you might have a breakdown, you might have a breakthrough, but 90% of the time it's just you conversing with somebody about how you feel, what you experienced, and them giving you feedback on what they heard.
Yeah.
That's it.
I know for me, when I did go, how she was able to pull trauma from my childhood that was affecting my marriage.
Yep.
That was powerful for me, you
From
guys.
all those years ago as a
All
kid,
those years
and
ago
how
as a
it still
kid,
affects
and
you.
how it had spilled over into my marriage and how I had to deal with it. You know, in the unpacking of all of that. You know, yeah, that was something.
Yeah.
So who introduced you to therapy? Because I know we didn't talk about therapy and stuff. So how did you hear about it or even know to do that?
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking.
Yeah,
I mean, I
sure.
don't want to get too personal.
How do I say
You
how do
know,
I say this?
we doing life, but I don't want to dig into too much of life.
In the past, I had somebody that I was dating, a young lady I was seeing, and she was like, she called me everybody's favorite word, everybody's buzzword, which was you're narcissistic, and you need to see somebody. Now, I had already been feeling like I needed to see somebody, not because I thought I was narcissistic, but because I was experiencing and witnessing, again, people that look like me getting killed on TV. I was diagnosed with a chronic illness at 7 years old. I had never talked to anybody about that, and how that had affected me as an adult, my confidence.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? You're right. Like, and again, I'm going to go see somebody.
Yeah.
And that was kind of it for me.
Yeah. And you know what, when you said that, how you was diagnosed with a chronic illness at 7. And so to tell you how far removed we were from therapy, we put you into karate. That was when we saw that we needed to build his confidence.
100%.
And to make him.
And that worked too.
Be more confident. We put 4 years of a college fund in karate. That's what we did, because we really, that shows you how far removed we were from the thought of even therapy.
Yeah.
Like, hey, maybe we need to put them in therapy. And now that we're talking about this, that's probably something that they need to talk about, like at the hospitals and stuff like that, like to tell the people or the parents and stuff like this.
Sure.
You guys probably need to, reach out and talk to somebody about this life changing. Because now we had a new normal.
Yeah. That was a big change.
There was a big change.
It's a big change.
They should probably implement that. You know what I mean?
I think that the medical professional, though, has to, they would have to
agree
their
with
biases. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because not everybody is cool with it, or not everybody feels like it's effective.
That's true. So how do your generation, as far as like, not necessarily your friends, but I'm just gonna say males that you are around. I don't want to just talk about your friends or anything. Just any males that you come in contact. How do they feel about that's around your age? Are they comfortable with it, or a lot of them are not comfortable?
So that's a great question. I know a few of my friends and like people that I've talked to and different things, like, have gone to therapy.
Okay.
And they've discussed it. But the thing about being a man and like your brothers, a lot of times, I say your brothers, but like your friends and things, right? Like a lot of times that's where we will have our therapy sessions, if that makes sense. When we all get together and it's just us, that's when we will go and, I'm going through this. This just sucks. I hate my job, et cetera, et cetera. Or it's, the opposite. I love my job. Things are going great.
Yeah.
But that is like us. And obviously it's not a legitimate therapy session.
No.
But a lot of times when you link up with your boys or your homies, like, it's there's a sense of relief. There's a guard that you let down that you do still have up when you're with your lady, or when you're it's just different. It's a different sense of security. I guess that's what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's not to say either that like I don't know. In my friend group, I've maybe seen the homies break down maybe like once or twice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like crying and stuff. But like that's typically not what we see. But we do have those sessions. It's just not as emotionally charged.
Yeah.
maybe as a real therapy session might be.
Mm-hmm. I think too, I was thinking about like, I mean, I'm not a male, don't want to be a male. I'm happy being a female, you know, but
I can
sometimes,
be anywhere.
yeah, but for some things that I've noticed through the process of time of having 3 boys and
Yeah.
being a second marriage, one of the things that I've noticed, especially like with your dad, that some of the things that males have to go through, like for instance, I'll give a good example. If I said to my husband right now, like, we're gonna, or you, oh, let's go down to uh let's go to Detroit and go to
I know where
what
she's
you call
going
it?
with this.
Go to the park, the water.
The Riverwalk.
Let's go to the Riverwalk.
Yeah. I know where she's going
For
with
me,
this, y'all.
the Riverwalk would just mean we're gonna get in the car, we're gonna go down to the Riverwalk, and we're gonna have a good time. For a male, it doesn't say that. Would you agree or not agree?
100%.
You know
For
what I
us,
mean?
it's for us, there's different categories that we
Okay.
factor in.
Uh-huh.
The biggest one, I think, when you're going anywhere with somebody you love, whether they're younger or older, is security as a man. So you're saying to him, let's go to the Riverwalk. He's probably thinking, okay, you know, I got to be mindful when I'm driving of other drivers.
Yes, yes.
Once we get down to the Riverwalk and we're actually walking, I have to be mindful of everything around me because I don't know who any of these people are. I don't know who has bad intentions. Security is a big thing, and it's not like something we think about.
Right.
It's really more like something that processes in the back of our brains.
Because as a male, being a protector.
Yeah, that's something that's just engraved
It's
in you.
engraved in you.
Look at and everybody in the chat too, y'all can attest to this, right? Like look at the men when you go out to eat and you sit down. Look at where the man naturally sits. I can tell you most of the time it's going to be where he's facing the door.
Okay.
And that's not something we do consciously, it's unconscious, but that is a security feature because we need to see who's coming in and out. Because if a threat comes through the door, I can see it first and then I can try to react. Right. So security definitely. Overall, making sure that like a good time is had too. I think that's something that doesn't get talked about a lot too. Like there is pressure for the man to kind of make sure that the night goes well. Yeah, and
that's a lot.
That can tap in. That can mean financially you're covering things. That could just mean you're keeping everybody excited.
Right.
There's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot
weight
to handle.
that can go into
just
taking a trip.
Just the safety part, because like I said, for us, we're not thinking that.
100%.
We're thinking like, okay, you making sure there's gas in the car, you're gonna drive. We sitting on the other side chit-chatting. If you got kids, you're talking to the kids, but you're just having a good time. But I'm not thinking of safety because I'm with my husband, I'm with my son. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. But it again,
but
a lot of that is ingrained. It's not necessarily like a conscious thing. So the stress aspect of it it's still stressful, but it's not something that we're constant. It's not like stress starts as soon as you're like, let's go to the Riverwalk and we're like, oh, gotta think about security.
Right.
It's not that.
Yeah. Because I remember one time when your dad, they were gonna go on a family reunion and he wanted to take us. And when the first time I recognized the stress of what men have to go through, like making sure you're safe. And I remember your dad always been one, when you get there, call me, let me know you made it safe. Always call me, let me know. If I go to Michael's, fly to Michael's, if I go to other kids and stuff, call me the minute you land, let me know. When I get to the airport, let me know that you if he drops me off, okay, did you get through the gate and everything? Just constantly checking to make sure that everything went okay. And then I remember your dad had an opportunity to go because this whole family was going on a family reunion. And I told him, I said, you just go by yourself. And he was like, what? No, you don't want to go and bring the kids? And I said, no. I said, I want you to go and just have a good time and not have to worry about nobody but you.
Yeah.
When I recognize the weight of that
is
worrying about the family, worrying about your kids, worried about your wife, worried about all this, I said, just go and have a good time. And what made it really nice for him is because they had chartered a bus. So he didn't have to drive.
See?
And it was all of them on the bus and all these family members. And even to this day, he said that was one of the best times he had because he didn't have to worry about me, Michael, the other kids. He didn't have to worry about driving. Are we there? Are we safe? You know, is the car good? You know, he didn't have any of that. All he had to do was just get on the bus, you know. And I remember that I really wanted that for him. I really wanted him to just have that moment where he didn't have to watch over anybody or be concerned with anybody but himself. You know.
That's important.
Yeah.
It's important. And I'm thinking even now, like as I'm out of town and my lady and my son are at the house, like even that, right? So I'm not physically there, and I'll tell you guys this story. We had to have somebody come and look at our washing machine, and I, you know, basically was laying out. I had a conversation with my lady over, like, okay, so in the event that something does happen or he tries to do something shady, this is how you use a firearm.
Right.
This is where the firearm is. This is the safety. This is how you load it. This is the chamber. This is the magazine. You know, you can stash a pocket knife here, and if your sweats are showing, you can conceal this firearm.
Right.
And we had a whole conversation and a breakdown, and I had her hold it and everything. You know, and these are just, again, this is just a guy that, and again, I don't think he had ill intentions, and he's fine, or everything went fine. But these are things that we think about as men when we're not even in the household, and you have a man coming to your house, and it's just your lady there, or it's your lady and your kids.
And I remember when you had told me that too, that, you know, somebody was going to come in and look at the washer.
Oh.
And I told you, I said, well, what I used to do when I was divorced, and I had to have, you know, service people come in the home or anybody, I would get on the phone.
Yeah.
And I would say, oh, girl, he just got here. So he on the phone, he knows I just told somebody he's here. I'm like, how long you think it's going to be? Well, I don't know. I got to take a look at it. Okay. And yeah, I'm chopping it up, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes I would tell my friends, like, call me, or I would call them and be on the phone with somebody just so there's somebody, know that there's somebody in my home. So that's how I would do it.
1,000%. 1,000%. I could talk all day about the mental health and men's mental health and different things, but what's have I taught you anything about like boundaries? I guess that's kind of like on the same thing. And we're gonna get into the money topic too.
Yeah, but the boundaries.
Yeah, like personal boundaries with associates, coworkers, friends, whatever.
Yeah. Michael has told me about boundaries, and you want to know what that is?
That's crazy because I didn't.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what he's talking about. When Michael was like, I'm gonna start about not I would say 18 when you got grown. And he said, I'm going out. And he come down the steps. He's dressed and ready to go. He takes the keys, and you said, where you going? I'm going out. When will you be back? I'm going out. How long you think it's gonna be? I'm going out. And as he proceeds to walk out the door, he never ever wanted to. I think that was one of his biggest flex that he would do, and it would drive me and his daddy crazy. And then we had a chat with him, like, we're not asking you because we're trying to stop you. We're just trying to know so that if anything happened. He said, if anything happened, I've got your number. I know how to call you. He drew that line in the sand.
Yeah.
And he would not tell us.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, where you going? And I remember when you moved in with your sister.
Yeah.
She was so angry at him, upset with him because he would not, like she was saying, she was doing the same thing we were doing. You're 25 years old. You're 22 years old.
22.
Ain't nobody asking you
22.
to say you can't go. You know what I mean? But for some reason, he just did not want to share information like that. So the boundaries was very, very clear with him.
And what did that teach you about boundaries? Like did that give you any insight, like as far as setting boundaries with other people, or?
Well, not
or
really.
Just more so like
no, not really. The only thing that I learned about boundaries, especially with your dad, was he's a man of time. If you tell him I'm going to have lunch with my friend Liz and I'll be back in 2 hours, in 2 hours he's expecting you because you said that, because he's one of those people, a person of your word.
Not to say too, let me throw this caveat out there, not to say that it's a problem if it's longer than 2 hours.
No, it's not a problem. But if you say that, he wants you to either call and say, hey,
give an update.
But give an update, and not like a check-in type thing, but he just knows, because I remember one time he went to visit his brother and he came back. He said, I'll be gone a couple hours, and he came back and he said, man, I was having such a good time. I said, well, why didn't you just stay? He said, because I told you I'd be back in 2 hours.
Oh yeah, no, I'd have called. Hey,
you could
we over here having a blast. I'll see you later.
Yeah, but he's old school to the point of like, your word is your bond, and if you say you're going to be gone 2 hours, you be gone 2 hours. But now I've learned with him, it's like, hey, I'm going to lunch with Liz. What time will you be back? I don't know, but if it gets to be late, I'll call you. Because for people who operate on time, you need to know how to communicate with them, and that is, don't give them a time. You know what I mean? Not that you're hiding anything, because you know that if you say you're going to be gone 3 hours, in 3 hours they're looking for you, or their mind might go to, oh, she said she'd be home in 3 hours. She's not here. I wonder if she's okay. Hey, I'm just calling to see if you're okay. You said you'd be home in 3 hours. Not like checking you or saying that you can't be out past the 3 hours. But when you operating and dealing with people who are time conscious, you know what I mean?
100%.
But boundaries. Michael, he just wouldn't. He wouldn't share.
I wouldn't budge on my boundaries.
And I don't know what that was too. I think maybe that was you asserting your
I think
your
that
manhood.
was yeah.
I don't know.
I would say that it was definitely like the age. You know what I mean? That age where like, I'm legally
give an account.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, so having a kid now, I understand, but like at 18, your brain is like, I'm grown now. That's how you feel in your head. So it's like, like I don't have to give an account. I don't have to. When again, hindsight now, looking back as a 30-something-year-old, it's like, no, it's really more like just a safety thing.
That's all
and also having a chronic illness. Hello, if anything happens, we just want to have an idea of where you are. We're not asking you to be nosy or whatever.
I put all that out there too, guys. I told him all that, but he just would not. He wouldn't budge on it. He was like, I'm going out.
Which is crazy.
I'm going out. And that's all we heard. I'm going out. And even his dad would say, Michael, I'm going out.
Yeah. It's the boundaries is, when you turn 18 or whatever. And again, not to say that that was the right way or the wrong way.
Right.
I'm just telling you guys, like, I could see my perspective at 18 was that, and my perspective now as a 30-something-year-old is I could see your perspective in it now too, as a parent.
Good. Yeah, right.
So
but I think the boundaries too that you have taught me is like the respect that we have for each other. You know what I mean? Like, the boundaries are there. I don't interfere with your relationships. I don't interfere with how he raises his son.
Right.
I mean, if I see that there's something that could be harmful, I'll say something. But for the most part, I don't interfere because I trust my kids with their children. Number one, and number two, I just sit back and let them do their parenting thing. You know what I mean? So the boundaries are there that I make sure that I don't interfere with how you raise him. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Like I said, only if I feel that there's something bad that could potentially happen or something like that. But other than that, I just don't interfere with it.
It don't. Right.
Mhm,
Right.
mhm. So I think that you've taught me, or I've just learned, to respect my kids as adults and respect their boundaries and respect their relationships and whatever they're into. I just respect it. And I think that comes from too when you have good kids and you can trust them to make good sound decisions and stuff. So I just respect,
I'm
you know.
I'm gonna piggyback off of that and
Mm,
say that it's not necessarily like a boundary thing, but it's
mm,
like boundary adjacent in the same stratosphere, we'll
okay.
say.
Uh-huh.
And I'll say that we have a rapport
Yeah.
where you and I can be honest about
Ooh, yeah.
things that
Very honest.
we are excited about, or
Mhm.
if we felt offended, or
Mhm.
me and her have a rapport. And,
Yeah.
and most of us do, like, right?
Mhm.
But I know a lot of people and their parents necessarily don't have that. So
Okay.
like she can come to
Right.
me
Mhm.
and let's say we're out for dinner and
Mm.
I might have said something to my mom in front of
Right.
people that she felt
Mhm.
like was wrong. She can come to me later and
Mhm.
say, I didn't
Yeah.
feel like that was right what you said.
That's
And
true.
I feel like,
Mhm.
going forward, if we can not do that, that
Mhm.
would be great.
Mhm.
The difference is, I guess that's standard as a
No, that
parent. That's,
yeah.
well, I'm saying from a
Yeah.
parent, but like for me to come to you and say the same thing, I
Mhm.
think that's the difference.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like I can come to you and say, I felt like I was offended by this.
Mhm.
Can we work to not have this happen again?
Mhm. Mhm.
Having that rapport
Like I remember one time as
is
talking
important.
about a boundary or just having that rapport was one time you was excited and you cursed at me.
Yeah,
And I was
yeah.
like,
And not no F bomb. Let me
no,
say that.
no,
I
it
ain't
wasn't.
dropped no
No,
F
he
bomb or
didn't. He
nothing,
didn't.
but
He
it was,
he didn't curse at me. He was cursing
yeah,
in the conversation.
yeah.
Yeah, you didn't curse at me, but he was cursing as he was talking to me in the conversation.
We were talking.
You
Okay,
know.
let me give context too, because I know people are like, "What is?" So we were playing a card game,
Mhm.
and we're big trash talkers in our family.
Yeah. Mhm.
So during the card game, I was talking big trash because I was winning. So I
Yeah.
was talking trash. But
Mhm.
go ahead.
Yeah.
I just want to give context
Yeah.
around.
Yeah. And so then, like I say, he didn't curse at me. He was cursing during the conversation. And that I didn't say anything that night. But when he got home, I made a phone call. Right.
Mhm,
I don't mind, but that was
mhm.
offensive. And then he'll tell me too, like, you know, don't say that or that's not
Yeah,
appropriate or something.
yeah.
Like I said, I think what it is we are open to each other to say, we don't hide it. I don't,
Right.
if Michael offends me or do something I don't like, I don't get on the phone to call his sister or call his brother. I'm going to tell him.
100%.
I'm going to tell him. And that's another boundary that we set. And I learned from my husband too is don't get on the phone and talk about one kid with the other kid if you haven't said it to them. Now if you're
Mm.
going and you're seeking advice because maybe they're a little bit closer, because my other son, we call him the therapist in the family. He's the therapist. Aaron, he's the therapist. We're gonna call his name because he's the therapist.
That's a
You know what
fact.
I mean?
That's a
So
fact.
he can see things from, if you want somebody that can really see things from other people's perspective. And I notice I'm starting to see a lot of that come out of you too, where you are really like, since you hit your 30s, you're really settling in and then being clear about things, you know what I mean? And being able to judge things and,
You know what it is?
what?
I'm a daddy. That's what it is. I got a 3-year-old. That's what it. I'm gonna be honest. Kids gonna grow you up.
Yeah.
No, but truthfully, because I have to see things from that perspective. Because
Yeah.
what happens is with your kids,
Uh-huh.
you're so biased.
Ooh.
I am so biased towards my son. If he
Mm.
says somebody did something to him, I am ready to go to war.
Yeah.
But I also have to recognize my son is 3.
He's 3.
And some of the times he knows what he's talking about, and other
Mhm.
times he's just talking.
Mhm.
So I have to discern
Yeah.
and take my bias away. Okay, no, son, that's not true.
Right.
Okay, no,
Mhm.
that's not how it went down.
Yeah.
You know.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to put that out there too. Like,
That's true. Yeah.
you have to be able to see different perspectives as a parent because you're constantly in the situation.
Mhm. Yeah.
You
I think
know.
that's gonna die.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Worry about that. But anyway,
Okay.
so let me ask you this. Is
Mhm.
there, because I feel like I've learned most of my like
Mhm.
financial knowledge and stuff
Mhm.
from y'all
Mhm.
and different things. I'm not sure is there anything you learned from me financially? I'm pretty sure the
Oh
answer is
yeah,
like
I've learned some
no.
stuff from you because like well, we've done the finance through Fidelity and all that stuff, but I learned
Like
how to invest in
investing,
stock,
stock investing.
like Apple and stuff like that with you, and how you have taught me. So yeah, you have taught me um, a lot about investing, and then you were the one who set me up on Acorn.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's doing good.
That
Yeah,
roundup.
yeah, that roundup.
Those
So yeah, so
roundups.
I have learned some financial things from you that I'm still doing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't feel like you haven't taught me anything in the
Okay.
financial
Yeah, no, we listen.
district. You know what I'm saying? And I
Listen.
know that you're constantly talking about, investing even more and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just a matter of having the
Well, I can say y'all taught me a lot too about
mhm,
just finances as well. I
mhm.
mean, from the real estate
Yeah.
game, and I won't get deep into
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah.
like I have a general framework
Right.
of how that works
Mm-hmm.
and the financial component. Um, and then even like something I learned from you
Mm-hmm.
is that it's how can I phrase this?
Mm.
It's better
Mm.
if I come to you and I say,
Uh-huh.
Mom, there's
Mm.
this new pair of, I don't want to say sneakers because I'm not 15. There's
Okay.
this new there's this new watch that I've been eyeballing. I love
Okay.
watches.
Mm-hmm.
Watches are one of my things. There's this watch I've been eyeballing.
Mm.
And you're like, oh, word. And I'm like, yeah, it's like $500.
Yeah.
I'm about to go get it. And you're like, oh, okay. And I
Mm-hmm.
get it and I bring it back to you and I show it to you.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna be like, cool, this is nice.
Yeah.
You pay $500 for this,
Yeah.
huh? It's like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if I come to you
Mm-hmm.
and I go, Mom, there's this watch that was $500
Uh-huh.
and I was able to get it for 400. You're
Uh-huh.
gonna be like, yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, so you taught me
Yeah.
like just because you can purchase something,
Mm-hmm.
it's more of a flex to purchase it at I don't want to say at a discount. It's more of a flex to purchase that you didn't pay top dollar
There
for
you go.
something
Mm-hmm.
versus you paying top dollar. And
Mm-hmm.
that's not to say that you can't pay the
Right, right,
$500
right.
for it. You got the money,
Mm-hmm.
but it is more of a flex to go, I
Yeah.
got this for a
Mm-hmm.
deal. I
Yeah.
got this for a steal.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about that, that kind of translates into most of your bigger financial purchases, period.
Right.
If you
Mm-hmm.
purchase a house
Mm-hmm.
and they're offering you, and then it appraises for 500,
Mm-hmm.
and the seller is wanting 500, but you get him to sell it to you for 450.
Right.
Now you have $50 of
50,000
$50,000
of
worth of
equity.
equity built
Mm-hmm.
in
That's true.
when you buy
Yeah.
the home
Right.
or when you buy jewelry.
Right.
Sam's Club and Costco does this a lot too. Their
Mm-hmm.
earrings. This is I'm dropping gems for y'all right now. Sam's Club and Costco has
Uh-huh.
jewelry for sale, and the sale price for a pair of earrings might be $300.
Right.
But the jewelry, the look at the tag, y'all.
Uh-huh.
On the tag, it'll say the price of the jewelry, and in
Retail.
small font underneath it will say the value of it.
The retail value.
The retail value will always be a little bit more than what you
Right.
bought it
That's
for.
right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
These are things that
Mm-hmm.
you appreciate. You
Mhm.
want assets. You don't
Right.
want. It's cool to have a cool car,
Right.
but
But
that's losing value.
that's losing value.
Your
Yeah.
jewelry,
Yeah.
your
And
house.
I'm not sure, but I've heard this that the same jeweler for Tiffany shops for Sam's Club and all those places. Like, I mean, I learned years ago, like Oprah, they said she was getting her jewelry from Sam's Club.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Another thing that I've really gotten into, and I've been doing it for years and years and years, is going to estate sales and stuff like that. I mean, even like raising y'all, I never had a problem with Goodwill.
Yes.
Some people have problems with it. My daughter, when she was like, we don't have to do that anymore. Why are you still doing it? It's like I told her, I said, just because I have $20 don't mean I want to spend this whole 20. You know what I mean? So if I can go to Goodwill and get a pair of jeans, bring them home, wash them, you know what I mean, clean them up, and pay $5, and I still got $15, or I can go to the mall and pay $19.95 and be begging somebody for $3 to pay
to get lunch
the tax,
afterwards.
Yeah, to get lunch or whatever. So just because you have the money don't mean you need to spend the money. That's not a flex. You know what I mean? What you got to do, you got to think wisely, because first of all, in your mind, you need to know that clothes is 100% markup. They're 100% markup. So you need to know that. And if you know that clothes are 100% markup, that means you know that you need to get them as low as you can. Shop off season. I always have shopped off season. We live in Michigan. I buy coats when they go on sale after summer. December. Like December. No, January, February, no, like September, like they'll be on sale, you know what I mean? Or fall. At the end of the season, like January, February, they get rid of the coats. Then you buy them for next year, and you buy them a size bigger. That's how I do it. Yeah.
100%.
So we just wanted to come in and chit chat and do a live with you guys, and just share our lives, because we're just doing life over here.
Well, let me ask you this too. I'm gonna throw you a curveball. So it's Saturday. What is something that the weekends are very special. Yeah. It's always been special in our family because that's the one day. Sometimes my dad will, most of the time, my dad will work Saturdays, but Saturday is like the one day I feel like coming up in the house that everybody was kind of free to do what it is that they wanted to do. What's one thing that every Saturday you felt like you had to do? Or like, what's one thing every Saturday that I should say that you look forward to doing? Whether it be like, especially coming up, like gardening,
I like
farmers market.
Yeah, but I like kind of shopping.
Okay.
I like that.
Okay.
Because like you said, I like shopping for bargains. So I always enjoyed shopping. Shopping was good. You know what I mean? You can get out the house, you can shop, get around a little bit, because Monday through Friday you're working. You get home, you're tired, you're cooking dinner,
dealing with
you're
kids.
in that grind, dealing with kids and all that stuff. So Saturday was always like shopping.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And getting prepared for Sunday for church or something. But Saturday was just a good free day.
Yeah.
And usually we never cooked a heavy meal on Saturday. It was like free fall, because we used to go to OCB when we had all the kids, guys.
OCB, go ahead.
Old Country Buffet.
Yeah.
And I used to take them boys and them kids because it was all you could eat for one price, and it worked, But yeah, Saturday was just a free fall Saturday. What is it that you like about Saturday?
Coming up, I think I used to love just being able to not have to get ready for school and just going outside and seeing my friends and basically running around the neighborhood all day if it was good weather. And then as an adult, I think what I like most about Saturday is like, I can't say not waking up because I'm gonna be up regardless.
Yeah.
But like, I like the idea that Saturday is, the flexibility of it. Yeah. We can go grocery shopping, but then we can go to the park and have some fun. Yeah. Or we can go out to dinner and, maybe I can sip something, she can sip something, and then we can take our son to the park and he can fall asleep. Like, I like the idea of being able to
do that.
Yeah, basically have a blank slate and kind of move how you want to move on Saturday. Yeah. And with the expectation as well that like you might see something that you wouldn't have seen during the week. You might experience something that you wouldn't have experienced.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with that said, we've been on live for a minute. So Appreciate y'all for tuning in to the first live ever on Doing Life with Miss Mary.
Yeah.
More to come.
Yeah, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is a Saturday I'm doing a live, but I am going to plan on going live on one day during the week. I don't want to put it out yet until I'm for sure what day I'm going to be going live. But thanks, guys, for watching.
Appreciate y'all.
You. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bye.
More content. You never know. Might be more guests coming on here on live Saturdays.
Yeah, I like it.
They get live. We might change up the what we sipping too. You never know.
Right.
Have a great weekend, guys.